welcome you back to Black Side Tonight. We're going to talk about the Karmelo Anthony press conference. They say Austin Metcalf disrespected the Anthony family. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. The Karmelo Anthony press conference had to be delayed because Austin Metcalf's father showed up to the press conference. He wanted to see what the Karmelo Anthony family had to say. But he was escorted out by the Dallas police, and he left quietly, shook the police officer's hand. But you can understand how a father is when he loses his son. But you also have to understand that the Karmelo Anthony family and their attorney have the right to have their say to the public. They were here basically to talk about the misinformation, how they have been threatened over the past 2 weeks, how the man who was the provider of the house, he had to take a leave of absence from his job because he has been doxxed, the job has been doxxed. But some of the information that their speaker, their hands-on speaker said about Karmelo Anthony, which shocked me, is that the young man only has a month left till he graduates in May. And they have decided to expel him from school, even though he has not been indicted, a grand jury has not come. So why has he been kicked out of school? If he doesn't do anything else with a 3.7 GPA, he should still be able to get his high school diploma. But they have decided that he's guilty under Frisco ISD policy. So if he's guilty, they're basically sending a message to the community that they believe that this young man is guilty. And they have probably received so much hatred from the people who believe that Austin Metcalf was murdered, that they decided, hey, to have peace at the school, we might as well expel him. And that was kind of shocking, but I can understand why they did it, because Frisco only has about 6% black residents within that city. And I'm glad that this beautiful mother, Miss Anthony, spoke out. And I had some emotions of her speaking out for her son and her family about what they're going through. She said she believes in America. She believes in the Constitution. That she basically wants a fair trial for her son. But the misinformation about them saying that they have bought a house, that they have bought cars. Yes, they have security because the network that is basically helping them out are giving them a security detail. But you have to understand that these Mayo monsters want this boy basically hung by a tree. See, you broke one of the codes in America. Now, if he had killed 2 black young men, hey, they would have said self-defense. But when you had 2 white boys and they tell you to move, you better move. You better move. You better not stand your ground. Matter of fact, Karmelo should have took that ass whooping. That's what he should have did. That's what they believe. But Karmelo stood his ground. And now that this thing has turned into conservative versus liberal, white versus black, you have these conservative outlets out here today putting out misinformation, telling lies, basically trying to get The Metcalf family up in arms. This is why the father shows up to the press conference. He has spoken. His wife has spoken. His son has spoken. But the Anthony family, for some reason, should be allowed to speak. Because to them, he's already guilty. He should already get life in prison. Maybe there shouldn't even be a trial the way they feel about Austin Metcalf, about Karmelo Anthony. And what they have done on social media is some of the worst racist propaganda that I have ever seen. This is truly disturbing what they have done to a young man who was the captain of the football and track team, also had 2 jobs, also a 3.7 GPA. In your mind, wouldn't you think, why would he do that? Why would he have a knife? Who threatened him? Why? But they don't understand that. Here's a young man who had college scholarships. Here's a young man who had his life straight in front of him. But why would he react that way? Because he felt threatened by Austin Metcalf and his twin brother. So he did something so many other people have done in the past. He decided to defend himself. And I'm glad that the Anthony family stood up there as a husband and wife, and she told everybody that she was a stay-at-home mother. Their father made enough money. He is so good at what he does at his job to put them in Frisco, Texas, to put them in that community so his kids can have a better life. And when she spoke, it tugged at my heart because this woman and her husband were doing the right things. But one instance, this young man walks over to her son. In 2 seconds, his whole life is in shambles because this young man wanted him to leave a freaking tent. And I'm also want to thank the young man who was speaking for the family, standing up for Angela Tucker, who was a Republican, who is now being attacked by these Mayo monsters for lowering his bail. Now she has the FBI investigating people for basically trying to dox her, putting out her home address where she works. Are they trying to get her unalived? Is these people so far out of control on social media and they're being egged on by these social media conservative influencers who have been selling propaganda to the media that this family has to basically go into hiding? It's sad when she said her daughter can't sleep at night because you know how vicious it is in Frisco, Texas right now. I want to hear your comments in the comment section. I want to thank you for listening to Black Psych. Hope you subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button, but also share this video.